Hi, everybody. So let's talk about health and wellness. So for thousands of years, the view of health really fell to like shamans. It fell to like even religious leaders um, and people who really like didn't fully understand the medical science that we have today. They didn't have the technology that we didn't really understand that. We've progressed very far in our view of medicine and health. But the view of health and the view of wellness has changed dramatically, and culturally, it's different in many places, right, across the world. Even today, like the view of health is culturally different in the world. And today's like traditional modern medicine focuses on identifying the symptoms of the illness and then working to cure that disease. All right, that's a big focus of the traditional medicine. And even in traditional medicine, there have been some dark times and things that we did in the traditional medicine field that maybe wasn't the best, or realistically was not the best. Okay. And we've learned, and things like ethics have come into traditional medicine, and we've learned about the body more, and we've learned about the brain more, and we've understood diseases, and we created things like vaccines and medicine and all this stuff that we didn't really have before. Okay. Um, Today, there's a stronger shift that's moving away from the traditional medicine focus, which is more about the physical ailments. And so we're moving into what we would call more of a holistic approach. And a holistic approach to health focuses on all facets of human functioning and how they're interconnected to each other, and how one area of like human functioning can be affecting the other area of human functioning. Right. And one thing about the holistic approach is that it requires that we all take our own personal responsibility for maintaining all aspects of our well-being. Because the reality is that being well and being healthy is not just something that happens, right? We don't just wake up and we're healthy all of a sudden. It's not something that just happens. It is something that needs to be a conscious choice that we make daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, right? It requires us to acknowledge aspects of our health that we may need to change and we may need to maintain, which takes us back to chapter 1, where it talks about the steps or the stages of change. We have to become aware. We have to want to change. Then we have to find out how to change. And then we have to maintain that change. Okay. And this isn't always easy for us to do. Oftentimes we get stuck in particular habits. And honestly, a lot of like health is about habits. So we get stuck in particular habits, like making poor food choices, or choosing not to exercise, or staying indoors and not getting sunshine and air, and things like that, which are all physical. And even making the choices of ignoring mental health issues, or ignoring issues within our relationships, and ignoring financial issues, or trying to run away from our problems, or diving deeper into like a hole and digging ourselves into a deeper hole in some areas. So it is challenging. So to get started, one of the things that I recommend is that you kind of take an account of like the behaviors you would like to change, and the behaviors that you are doing that you are healthy, that you see as healthy. They're good for you, right? And they're helping you. And so you take an account of all these behaviors or even thoughts, and then you can create this cost benefit analysis that we talked about last week about CBT, right? So you take this account of thoughts or beliefs or choices that you are making or that you have surrounding your health, and then start using a cost benefit analysis. What are the advantages of making that choice? What are the disadvantages of making that choice? Because from a holistic point of view, something to understand is that it's more than just physical health. Okay, health also includes emotional and mental and spiritual, financial, relationship, and many other aspects. And they're all rolled up into our overall well being as a human. Okay. And so we need to be analyzing some of the things that we're doing in all the areas in our life, not just like the physical ones. Oftentimes, people focus on health. When they focus on health, they focus just on the physical. Oh, I need to eat better and exercise. What about mental health? What about your emotional health? Okay, like those are important aspects of our well-being as well. So in order for us to start managing our health better, we need to start accepting the responsibility for our health. This means we need to take the responsibility for the choices that we are making concerning our own health. The choices about what we put into our body, how we take care of our body, what we put into our mind, what do we read, what do we listen to, how we spend our money, the people we choose to surround ourselves with, and then and what we allow ourselves, like what we allow to affect us. So one way that we can start to make some changes in our health and wellness is through goal setting. And so on Canvas, and we're going to do a screen share here, and on Canvas, I have a document that goes through some like behavior modification techniques, how to actually work and create a behavior modification plan and what to do and how to actually work through that. We're going to take a look at that. And then I also put some goal setting worksheets, which I have found very helpful because you can do the way it's arranged is you do a long-term big goal, and then you have your monthly goals that are in alignment with the long-term goal, then your weekly goals that are in alignment with the long-term goal, and then you can even do daily goals that are in alignment with your long-term goal. That way it kind of breaks down this long-term goal into more manageable steps, and you can see the progress as you move through and the choices that you're making as you move through these goals, as you achieve these goals. And we're going to go over those as well. First off, let's start with our using goal setting to modify or change behavior. Right, so using goal setting to modify or change behaviors. Okay, so you may have become motivated enough to want to actively work at changing a particular pattern of behavior that's related to your health, especially after going through all this. One way of doing this is a self-directed program. So when you are working at creating and working through your self-development, your self-directed program, make sure you're keeping a observational record, a journal, where you are actually recording your daily, weekly progress. Okay. So make sure that you are keeping a journal. Research has definitely shown that when we're trying to make behavioral changes, it is always best to actually record the progress or even the like backslides that may occur, okay, during this change, okay, and recording even like your emotion and your mental state and, where you're at, okay, again, that well-being. All right, that overall well-being. All right, so this is kind of created by Watson and Tharp. All right, it's a systematic model for how to actually create your own self-directed behavior modification. So first, observe your behavior by focusing your awareness on what you're doing, right? So you need to create what's called a baseline. So you need to actually observe what you're doing now. So keep a record of all your behavior, okay? And then later you're going to use that to track the changes that are occurring, okay? So first you need to observe your behavior. We call this baseline. Anytime we do any behavior modification, we always need a baseline. This is our comparison, so we can actually track the changes occurring. Second part, develop a contract. So after you understand what behavior pattern you want to change, you need to create a plan for this change. Okay. Creating a contract with yourself, or you can bring in like an accountability partner. All right. So, and the contract is going to be basically like, what are you going to do? What changes are you looking to achieve? What are your goals? And then you may even want to include like, what happens if you reach that goal? Do you get a reward for yourself? Or what happens if you don't reach that goal? Is there like a punishment? Okay. So select your goals. So what do you want for yourself? How do you want to be different? Make sure anytime you do any goal writing, it needs to be as specific as possible. Okay, not like vague, like I want to be healthy. Okay, well, what does it mean to be healthy? What does it look like to be healthy? What changes need to occur in your life in order to create that idea of being healthy? All right. Translate your goals into target behaviors. So what are the behaviors you need to change? This is why you created that baseline, because now you can start looking at the specific target behaviors that need to change. What do you want to decrease? What do you want to increase? And how are you going to achieve these things? Arrange to get information and feedback. So if you want to know how effective your new behavior is, you got to like gauge it based on people around you. This is also why an accountability partner, it can be very helpful. So if you bring in this accountability partner, then they can give you feedback, and they can also check in with you and see how things are going and if you're staying on track and things like that. And then revise your plan of action as needed. So this is the modification point, right? You need to change it. If something's not working, then you need to change that. So you need to be able to like refine everything. Now, another way that you can actually do this is going to be through a self-directed behavior modification program, which you would also kind of create yourself. All right. So we understand that there is a healthy and an unhealthy like us, but yet we often have difficulties in committing ourselves to a plan for change, right? We generally don't necessarily like change, and habit changing can be challenging. I believe the statistic is if you do a habit for 28 days consecutively, then it actually forms into what we call your homeostasis. It actually just becomes part of you. So you got to keep it up, keep it going. All right, so let's look at what the steps are for a self-directed behavior modification program. Now, understand that both of these are using behavioral theory. All right, this idea that we can change our behaviors. And one way that we can do that is through creating plans and goals and working towards those things. And another way we can do it is through operant conditioning, where we may reward ourselves or punish ourselves, okay? So first, the step is to specify the target behavior. What is the problematic behavior that you want to change? And again, you need to be clear about this. It needs to be specific, not vague. Okay, the more detailed you are, the more effective all of this will be. Next comes the process of simply monitoring your present behavior. So this is your baseline, seeing where you're at now so you can track the changes as you reach your goal. All right, third step consists of designing a program or a plan for change. So it is important that your plan be systematic and clear. This is one reason why I like to use those goal worksheets that I'm going to show you, creating a written contract that basically says, I am going to do this. Let's say it's like an exercise, like a behavior modification plan for exercise. I will go to the gym 3 times a week for 1 hour. Okay. That would be very specific. There's time, right? Exactly what you're doing, things like that. That's more clear. And then make sure that part of your plan is also that you're going to provide a reward. When you reach one of your goals, or when you change this behavior, or let's say you're going to do this for 2 months. And so you do it for 2 months. And then after 2 months, when you hit that 2-month mark and you've done everything that you had laid out in this plan, you reward yourself. But also make sure that you also add a potential punishment as well. Whatever it is, but it has to be something of value to you. Like it has to be something that, like, you're not going to be happy about, like donating money to a organization that you really just do not like. And then that amount of money has to be of like value. So if it's like $50, you're going to donate $50 to an organization that you don't like if you fail to meet your goal. Okay. So and then next step. So as you carry out your plan, you'll need to revise and fine tune it. So always be reflecting back on it, looking at it, going, okay, what do I need to change? What isn't working? What is working? Okay. So that you can fine tune it, right? If you have any setbacks or backslides or anything like that, like you can look at it and go, okay, well, what made that happen? Like what was going on when this happened? And again, these things can be for anything, right? It could be about physical health. It could be about financial health, mental health. It could be about even like cognitive health, things like that. Okay. And then the last step is to evaluate how effective it's all been. Did you make the change? Are you maintaining the change? Did this contract work for you? Okay. Did this behavior modification plan work for you? And trust me, it can all work if you stick to it. Okay. All right. So let's go into our goals. So some of you may be familiar with the SMART goal acronym, which is specific, measurable, attainable, reachable, and timely. It is very important that we set goals to this acronym. It helps us a lot. Okay. So this one here that is titled as SMART goals. Okay, this one here is like your overall long-term goal. What is one of the main goals that you would like to do? So when I do these, I usually will print them out and I might write at the top, like, this is my financial SMART goal, or this is my behavioral SMART goal, or health SMART goal, like whatever it is, right? And I usually write it at the top. And so the S stands for specific. So what are you going to do? Why is it important? What do you want to ultimately accomplish, and how are you going to do that? And be specific, write it out, right? I am going to lose 20 pounds this year by going to the gym 4 times a week for 1.5 hours, or 3 times a week for 1.5 hours, or I'm going to go on a run 3 times a week for 3 miles, and whatever it is, but be specific, okay, about what it is you're trying to accomplish, why it's important to you, right? Like what's the purpose of this? Why are you even doing this? Okay, so that's specific. Then measurable. How are you going to know that you achieved the goal? So it needs to be measurable in some way, right? So when I talked about the weight loss and I said 20 pounds, well, that's measurable. 20 pounds is measurable. You can know when you've lost the weight because you can see the weight drop. Attainable, right? This is where you have to use your critical thinking skills and think like, all right, well, is my specific goal something that I can attain? Can I achieve this? Or is this goal so far out of my reach, there's no possible, right? Like if my specific goal was, I want a 6-pack within the next year, like for me, like that's not attainable at this moment, right? And part of being attainable is being able to break it down into more manageable pieces. So when we set a goal, we need to be able to actually break it down into these smaller steps so that we can take one step and then go, okay, good, we're on track. Another step, all right, we're moving towards that goal. Another step, another step, another step. That's where the other goal worksheets will come in. Okay. Then there's reachable. Is the goal too difficult for you, or is it too easy? We want to be in that optimum level that motivates us, right? So if it's like, oh, I'm just going to lose 1 pound, that's too easy. Oh, I want to lose 50 pounds within 6 months. Like, that's too difficult. So it needs to be a reachable goal. Okay. And then timely. What is the target date? Okay. How long are you giving yourself to actually reach this goal? Okay. So that's the SMART goal. So we start here to lay out like our big goals. All right. The long-term goals. And then we move into things like our monthly goal. All right. And this monthly goal worksheet is basically the same. It's the specific, measurable, attainable, reachable, timely goals for this month. And then you list the goals for the month that are in line with the overall goal that you had just set. So you break it down into these steps. So you detail. And so this one is going to be a little more brief. It's not as detailed. Okay. But SMART goal number 1, and make sure it's in alignment with the overall SMART goal that you've created. And then how will you know that this goal has been accomplished? Bam, right? So for this month, you're going to go to the gym 3 times a week for at least 1 hour. That's your SMART goal. And you're going to start, right? So I'm going to go to the gym 3 times a week for at least 1 hour. I'm going to just be at the gym. Whether I work out or not doesn't matter, but I'm going to be at the gym for at least 1 hour, 3 times a week in that first 30 days. So at least then it's starting to build that pattern of actually going to the gym. And while you're there, you may start doing a routine. You may spend a little bit more time walking around, like whatever it is, but you're there and you're creating that pattern. And so you know it's been accomplished because you track it. Oh yeah, I went 3 this week, 3 this week, 3 this week, 3 this week. Cool. I actually accomplished this goal for the month, and it's in alignment with the overall goal. One of the goals might be eating healthier or making better food choices. So the SMART goal might be that you will eat, 3 servings of vegetables a day and 3 servings of fruits a day. Okay, and this is a measurable goal that's attainable, it's reachable, there's a timeline because it's for the month or it's for the week, right? And it's in alignment with the overall goal. So that's the monthly goal. Okay, so then you lay these out at the beginning of each month. Then we go into the weekly goal. Okay, and then the weekly goal is basically the monthly goal, except it's broken down into the week. What are you going to do this week in order to reach your monthly goal, in order to be in alignment with the overall SMART goal? And you lay this down. I know that it sounds like a lot of work, and it is, because you are trying to create a change in your pattern of behavior. And again, you can do these for any other aspect of your life, financially, emotionally, mentally, but you're trying to change certain aspects of yourself that may be habits. So you're trying to form these new habits, right? Like the book talks about sleep habits and appropriate sleep habits. So one of your goals might be to get better sleep, right? To have a well-rested sleep every night, to get more of it because you need more sleep or you need better sleep, whatever it is. And then you have your overall goal, your monthly goal, your weekly goal. And you can even break it down by daily. So whatever you're doing daily works towards your weekly goal, monthly goal, overall goal. Okay. But the idea here is to work at these changes, make those better choices, take responsibility for the things that you can control about your life, right? And that's a big part of this class, is the self-awareness. Okay. So that concludes my lecture on health and wellness. I hope you found it informative. Once again, please feel free to leave comments if you would like to. I enjoy reading the comments, and even trying to generate a discussion about this lecture would be wonderful. And otherwise, I'll see you next time.